I'm Hashim, by the way. Nice meeting you. Do you believe there is a God, or you are not sure yet?
No, I mean I can't deny it, but he didn't come to me and tell me, hey, I exist. So then I don't believe anyone until I don't see it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you only believe what you see.
Or what I feel,
Do you believe you have consciousness?
that I have consciousness.
You haven't seen your consciousness, right? But you believe it.
So I was asking you as well.
Yeah.
I mean consciousness about me.
Yeah, your consciousness. Do you believe you possess or have or acknowledge that you have consciousness?
But actually, we can't define exactly what is consciousness, but
No, we
yeah,
can.
what we think
We
about
can
consciousness.
actually. Roughly, we can. So if you're aware of your environment, you're aware of yourself, of your existence and your environment,
Yeah.
then you know you're conscious. Yeah?
Okay, I can say yeah. But
Okay.
I believe
Do
in
you see your consciousness?
No, but I can feel it.
There you
'Cause
go. So you have faith in your consciousness.
No, I'm feeling it. Like
Ah,
I feel, I believe in
No,
it.
no, wait. You feel it means you're using your consciousness and your sense. So your senses is part of your consciousness, by the way. You see, it's an extension of your consciousness,
So then it exists.
but you can't see it.
Yeah, but if everything goes through my consciousness, they are linked.
It's a
So
circular
it means that one thing can't exist without the other one.
No, you can feel your sense through your senses, yes. But what I'm saying is, what makes you understand that you feel, or acknowledge that you feel, is your consciousness.
This thing that we define as consciousness, because we don't have to deny that we created this world out of something we don't
No,
know
we are
anything about.
we are not saying we created this or created that.
created the
All
world
because
of
I'm going by your
consciousness.
principle, because your principle is that if you don't see God, you won't believe it. But in the case of your consciousness, you don't see it, but you still believe it. So you are failing your principle.
No, because I think that we say that conscious is when someone is aware of himself and
Yes.
So I believe in this because I feel it. Like I believe I am myself. I believe I'm seeing all of you guys, and I believe I'm here under these trees, and you know.
Have you noticed that you said I believe, I believe, I believe? This is faith. You believe by faith.
Yeah, but there's different kinds of faith.
Yes, but in this way, what you're saying is you believe in something you do not even see.
It's not that I believe actually. It's like
But it's something
I'm
that's
sure. I'm sure about.
So you have proof for consciousness? Empirical proof?
So I'm sure that
What's the empirical
all of
proof
you
for
are
consciousness?
here now.
What's the proof for consciousness?
Empirical proof.
The empiric proof.
Yeah.
So
Empirical
what kind
proof.
Of empirical proof
Do you know what's empirical?
in which way?
In any way. Do you know what's empirical mean? When the scientists use the term empirical, do you know what it means?
What does it mean?
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
So you don't know.
No, what do you think it means?
I think
Because
something
feel
that is
like you have a
observable,
different idea.
that is testable, that's verifiable, that's empirical.
Okay,
in the
so
simplest
God is
form.
not empirical.
No, but I'm asking about your consciousness, not
But
about
it's not empirical.
Paulo. I'm asking about your consciousness. Do you have empirical evidence of your
You have
consciousness?
empirical evidence of God.
But I'm asking about your consciousness. Why
There
going to
is
God?
none.
Why are you going
Is
to
there a
God?
God?
That is what I'm asking. I'm asking about the
Because you
consciousness.
believe in God,
Okay.
she believes in consciousness.
I'm asking you, do you have empirical evidence for your
For
consciousness?
my
think-
consciousness?
Yes.
No.
Thank you very much.
I think there is
Good.
have logical
Do you have empirical evidence for your
I
consciousness?
think I have empirical evidence of everything I see, everything I touch, everything I feel. If
No.
you want to call that
don't touch, you don't feel, you don't
consciousness,
No, hold on. What you have just done there, you know your consciousness, it enables you for all this thing. You know the
then
questions.
if you are calling all of these what I'm
No,
saying
wait. I haven't
consciousness,
even said anything about your senses are basically an extension of your consciousness.
then
So
I can feel it. I can touch
no,
it.
wait.
I can-
Hear me out. Your consciousness is not your senses. They're distinct. But one the
can't exist without the other one. So
hold
it
on.
means that if I'm doing this,
You're
it
jumping
means
the
that
gun.
I'm saying that
You're
there's
jumping the gun. For example, you know that you have a brain. You know that you have.
I think so. I
yeah.
never.
That'll be problematic if you're talking to me without your brain. Okay.
Hopefully, I will never know exactly because it means that maybe I will be there.
By the way, that's another example of yours. What you believe without seeing.
Yeah. You should do like him. You know, he opened his skull and checked if he has a brain.
How do you know I did
Gotta
that?
do that.
How do you know I did that?
Because I know you don't have one.
I have the organ.
You know,
I have the organ.
I don't know. Paulo probably got upset because I told him that he has no evidence for consciousness, and he didn't want to
Do you know the
acknowledge
difference
it,
between
but he said
prehistory
yes.
and history yet? Or do
Okay.
you still,
So
you still don't
anyway,
check
look,
it
I
out?
don't want to talk to you
still
because
don't see it?
you seem to be very upset that I've actually exposed you that you have no
very upset.
empirical evidence of consciousness, but you believe in it by faith. Yes. Similarly, if you can believe that you have consciousness without any empirical evidence, so why don't you believe God without empirical
But
evidence?
I think
Unless
there's
you have double
empirical
standards.
evidence of consciousness.
Forefathers.
Was that?
Forefathers.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You think you do, but you don't. Empirical evidence of consciousness doesn't exist. That is why the scientists out there, they call it the hard problem of consciousness. Yes? Because this is something they have to believe axiomatically. That means there is no way that they can actually just say, oh, it doesn't exist,
So
because
then-
they have to acknowledge it exists.
Then, what if I say that I just believe that you are here, that I can touch this, that this feels like something we call like rubber thing?
Coronavirus, don't touch too much.
Then that I can see that these leaves are green.
Those are your senses.
How do you call that?
Yeah. So those are,
I believe in my senses.
Yeah, of course
and
you do.
What about if I'm feeling something now? I'm feeling nervous.
by the way, we have evidence
What
of
do you call
senses.
that?
Listen
What
to
do
me.
you call that?
Listen to me. We have evidence that your senses are there,
Yeah.
my senses are there, and we actually
Why?
hear me out. Hear me out. We experience the world from our senses. There's no doubt about that. However, the senses are actually connected to your consciousness, which enables you to use your senses.
Sorry, I got distracted by.
You don't want to be on the camera, yeah?
No, I prefer not because
Prefer not,
I always
okay.
say like today I say this, I think this, but maybe tomorrow I'm.
Fair enough. There's nothing wrong. We are in the
I don't-
process
I
of
don't
learning.
Like to be like
we
this,
we
like,
all are in the
control
process.
anything.
We all are in the process of learning. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being wrong and correcting. As long as you acknowledge your mistake and you correct yourself, yes, then you're not arrogant, you're sincere. But once you recognize the truth and you still consistently somehow fight your own self, you're fooling yourself, nobody else. See what I mean? So when you see a truth, you acknowledge it. So for example, consciousness is the one that enables you to ask me questions, to use your faculties of reasoning, and also to use your senses. This is the key. So your consciousness is like the CPU of the
As
computer.
I'm doing it, it means that it's a proof that consciousness exists. If you
Yeah,
want
you need
deny
to
consciousness.
distinguish
That's
between
what
the
I'm
two,
saying.
between the senses and between consciousness. Senses are an extension. Your mind
Yeah.
is an extension of your consciousness. Your faculties of reasoning are an extension of your consciousness. But when I say consciousness, it's something that is immaterial, that no one can see under a
Then
microscope.
I just don't believe in consciousness because it's a word we put to something that
No,
we.
you
it
cannot
doesn't
say
exist.
I don't. You
It
can.
doesn't exist. Like
if-
it's
when
like
you-
God.
yeah.
Consciousness is about it's like God.
Wait. When you say I don't believe in consciousness, either means you don't know what
Consciousness
consciousness
is an
means.
extension of mind, but you see he
Exact-
said it the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's an extension, so in a
Conscious-
way I can feel it, but it's
Your
something we call it.
consciousness,
We don't-
consciousness is something no one denies. No scientist denies. No logical person denies, unless you don't know what it means.
From the thing you're telling me,
Yeah.
I believe that there's you're explaining it wrong actually because I'm seeing
Look up the definition of consciousness if you don't believe me. Look it up.
Yeah, Google it.
That's the best way to learn, you know.
Look at the definition.
If
of
you don't
history.
believe me, go and learn it from
He
somebody
doesn't know
else.
what history means.
No,
Okay.
that's yours. That's yours.
Come on, what, man? Why are you getting involved?
No.
It's
I've
okay,
been
it's okay.
involved for a while
We know he's hurt.
also my English level is not like
here. We
that
can
good.
get
Look up
involved.
consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the reason it exists.
Because I want to. I want to say something.
So first thing that
What's the
appears.
problem?
Yeah. Bro, just ignore him. That's
Brother,
fine. Just ignore him.
That's pretty good.
It's okay.
So what is consciousness?
Yeah. What does it say?
Scientists are beginning to unravel a mystery that has long vexed philosophers.
Where are you looking?
Consciousness is everything you experience.
Yes.
So if I experience it,
Isn't that what I told you at the very beginning? The definition that if you are
but that's
aware
what
of your
I'm saying, that there's a proof. I experience it. So that's what I can say. If they say it's this, then yeah. Like,
Okay, let's make it easier
You know
for you.
what I mean?
There's a difference between something which we call empirical evidence, yes, where you have objective proof evidence, and subjective. So what you experience, can somebody else experience?
Yeah.
How? What you experience, can somebody else experience? The same way?
The same way.
Yes, no. So that's
But
called
I don't know exactly.
no,
Maybe
but
yes.
that's called subjective. For example, I'll give you a very good example, which I normally use in this kind of scenarios. Imagine you and your friend are in a room.
Yeah.
Yes? Your friend feels that the temperature is a bit cold.
Yeah.
Yes? You feel it's warm enough for you. Yes? You both are in the same room, but you both experience the temperature
But it's
in
not
a different
about
way.
Consciousness, about
No, hear me out.
physical.
If it wasn't
things.
consciousness, you wouldn't feel the temperature, trust me.
What?
If you were not
Yes,
conscious,
feel the temperature. We're both doing it. We're feeling the temperature.
exactly. But that is called subjective
different
experience.
temperature.
The reason,
The temperature itself, like the cold or the warm, is another thing. But we're both.
why are you
feeling the
experiencing different temperatures in the same room?
because we have different bodies, different chemic
Yeah.
stuff going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like. a
It's called subjective experience. So your experience is
Move right,
subject
move
to you, and her experience is subject to her.
Because
Hear me out. Actually, you're right. Your physiology is different
Exactly.
to hers. It might be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Might be many other factors as well. But how can we determine objectively the temperature of the room? Objectively,
What
not
do you mean?
subjectively. So because you both are in the same room, you both have different experience depending on your makeup or some other factor.
But I think this
How
is,
can we as a human
yeah,
Empirically.
get the exact temperature of the room?
with like with science, like
Yes.
with a
Thermometer.
thermometer.
Is a thermometer
Exactly.
conscious?
A thermometer
Yeah.
gives us an objective
Objective.
measure of the room temperature. You know, that is the difference. Wait, I wanted to show you the difference between subjective and objective evidence. So we have evidence here. We use a tool called the thermometer.
Yeah.
Yes? The thermometer is a tool. Remember this, to get a reading for the temperature, because that's what it's made for. Yes? We use a specific tool. However, the scientists do not have a tool to know
Yeah.
your consciousness. For example, if you love do you have a pet?
The feeling.
Yeah, I do.
A cat or dog?
I don't.
A dog. Look, how would you know that you love your family more than your dog?
How would I know that I love my family more than my dog?
Yes.
How we know? How we know?
How would we know objectively? Because I know
People-
subjectively you probably know.
Yeah.
Inside you, you know whom you
know
love
who's
more.
better, who's-
Yes?
Yeah.
But is there such a tool like the thermometer to measure the temperature? Is there such a tool which can measure the love, which is an emotion, which is, like you said, you experience from your senses?
Yeah, no, you can
And your
no, you
experience.
cannot like put it into anything. No,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You
So
cannot.
you cannot measure
It's not
emotions.
easy to measure it, yeah.
Fair enough. You cannot measure emotions, which are always subjective, yes,
Yeah.
with a tool which the scientist can say, yes, now we have objective evidence of emotion. So your emotions cannot be measured by science.
Okay, but
You know
I'm-
why? Do you know why?
I'm not saying I'm just saying that I believe in that emotion because that's what
Oh,
I'm
no, no. I never said you don't believe in love. Of course you do. You believe in love, you believe in hate, you believe in even whether you're feeling cold or hot. These things are emotions. These things enable you. You have your abilities and faculties which allow you to feel these things.
So you're just asking me in what I believe, and I'm just
No, no,
saying that I believe.
no.
in
What I'm trying to show you is that there are places where science fails. There are limits to science. So the science cannot measure immaterial things. Science it actually it's what do you say? It analyzes the material world. Yes, the naturalistic world that we call. It doesn't measure things like your emotions, which again emanate from your consciousness. Yes, so everything is linked. Your consciousness is your central CPU, as in a computer. You know, the microchip, the main thing which allows you, and it's connected to your mind, obviously. So what I'm saying is that science has limitations. There are certain things science cannot measure. So if anybody comes and tells me, show me empirical evidence of God, you cannot even show empirical evidence of within your own self,
self, yeah.
let alone God. Yes? So what is within you? What does Allah say in the Quran? That He will show you signs beyond the horizon and within yourself. Yes? And this is the beauty. One of the things in the Quran, Allah has already told you that you cannot even see things which are within yourself and have empirical evidence for it, or allow science. Doesn't matter, with all the technology, they'll fail. Because you see, science was never meant to measure immaterial world. And we cannot deny the immaterial world because we believe in
That's what they call it
consciousness.
metaphysics.
So that is what I'm trying to tell you.
Therefore, I don't deny it.
You don't deny what?
The
God?
existence of God.
Alhamdulillah, say the Shahada.
That's it. Finished.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that there are limits to science and we need to acknowledge that. By the way, as a Muslim, we don't deny science. We know science explains things. However, it cannot explain certain things, like for example, the origin of the universe. It can speculate many things, how it originated, but it can never tell you clearly with empirical evidence how the universe came into being.
That's what you need.
Yes, and if you want to call it faith, that's fine. But if you want to believe that it came from nothing, that is also unscientific and
but
wrong.
then my question, for example, is like, okay, so then why do you believe? Because you read something, because your parents told you, because your environment. Maybe if you were born where I was born, you would not be a Muslim.
Where were you born?
In Spain. In my
There are lots of
family,
Muslims
my-
in Spain.
my
Don't worry.
envir- my
There are lots of
environment-
Muslims in Spain, so
Yes.
your analogy is completely wrong. But anyway, you might have a point there, that there is obviously,
more Muslims
if you're
or
born in a
Christians
Muslim
in Spain.
family, you're most likely to be a Muslim.
I was
And if
born
you're,
in the tribe of no Muslim, I am Muslim.
alhamdulillah, where you from, sister?
As well, yeah.
Northern Ireland.
From Northern Ireland. MashaAllah, you see?
Yeah.
So let's not use, the thing is,
But
we
then,
as, by the
you
way,
see, like, a lot of
today,
people
by the way, today we live in a global village. They say, we live, everything is connected today. So people, maybe all, you see these videos here, they will go far and wide. So people who are not at Speaker's Corner, earlier she didn't want to be. Anna, it's up to you. Now they know you. All right, she likes to be famous. That's fine. We'll make her famous.
Yes,
Make dua for Anna that
and
Allah
money,
gives her
money,
hidayah,
please, I
inshallah.
need money. It's very important for living.
If you want money, pray to the Creator. You never know where it comes from. So,
Pay to the person
by the way,
who
your
says
question
it
is
comes
good. Like,
from
why do you
me.
believe it? Is it
Who
because
made
I was
you?
born
Who
in
made
a
you?
Muslim
Who
family?
made you?
Maybe that's the reason. But I also use my own faculties that God has given me to reason and come to the conclusion that all this, the universe did not create itself. It did not come from nothing. So what is the other alternative?
You say that God
That the
gave
universe
them.
always existed, maybe.
There's no scientific evidence for that.
You said, you said
Go on. This guy is a funny guy, honestly. Yeah?
I am a funny guy.
You are, yeah.
Very funny.
You need sabor.
But anyway, your
Sabor is
question
coming.
was good. Why do you believe it? The question is this:
Favor.
Where did the universe come from, according to your understanding? Where did it come from?
I don't know.
Have you thought about it? Okay, let's.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Okay.
And I don't have
Yeah.
any clue because it's like, I think, okay, the universe, right? And then after the universe, like what? I imagine like black, and then after the black, like black and black and black, and this black where?
You go in a
why do
blackout?
we call it black even? Like, is it black?
All right. That
Right.
when you say black, you probably mean nothing, right?
Yeah, like, but this nothing is like in something. So actually,
Well,
something,
nothing
but
can't
it's
be
like,
something.
You know?
Nothing and
Black
something
is
are the two opposites.
And who created God? Like,
We'll come to that, no problem. But right now, we are not talking about God. We are just talking about the universe.
okay.
Did the universe come from nothing? Is that even a possibility?
But this nothing is, to call it nothing, it's into something.
No,
I mean,
nothing and something are two opposites.
Then
It's not
what,
the same.
What is nothing?
Nothing is the absence of everything. Something is at least
The,
that.
the absence of everything
Yes.
is something already.
No.
It's nothing.
No.
Which is
Zero.
something.
Nothing, by the way.
The
It's
basic
zero.
law of transformation of matter. that
By the way,
nothing is created,
nothing-
nothing is destroyed,
She's got a man herself.
everything is
Let her speak.
transformed.
Yeah, that's
but
in-
he won't let you do that.
That's in a
He'll
close.
try to-
Let her
If you knew that.
Close environment. That's
If,
in
if,
close
if,
environment.
if Paulo knew the first law of thermodynamics, it says in a closed system. It doesn't say before the universe existed. So please don't tell me I don't know.
Go
Okay, so the question, by the way, I'm talking to her. You seem like a troll
Yeah, but
here.
you're talking
I don't
about
like to
me.
talk to troll because you
You're
interjected.
talking about me.
You
You're
interjected.
bringing me to the
You
conversation.
brought
Now
me in
you're
the
saying, no,
conversation
no, I
as
don't
well.
want to talk.
Anyway, you seem like a troll, so I'll ignore you.
Do
I think Sabur can handle you better.
Oh,
Yeah, he educates.
He's not
Sabor is
handle
another
anyone,
guy.
to
I
be
had the-
fair.
By the way, he schooled you nicely last time.
Some guy. Some guy.
Okay, so nothing. Do you think nothing even exists, for example?
More respectful, to be
Could
honest.
nothing even be
You could learn.
By the
from
way,
God.
you know what?
Maybe-
Respect.
Maybe you could learn.
Paulo,
from
Paulo,
him.
I know you're stammering now, but respect is not demanded, it's earned. Yes,
Stammering.
yes,
From
stammering.
you, from the likes of you. Hashim.
Yes,
I
yes.
think you got something
But don't
very,
expect
very
respect if you can't give it.
wrong.
Respect is always
I
earned,
get
never
it
demanded.
before When he spoke respectfully,
don't
without
think
using
God
the kind of.
Why are you
phrase
here,
that
by
you're
the way, if you
using.
don't think I'm respectful
I'm
to you?
here to speak to you.
No, I don't want
And
to
to
speak.
listen what you have
If you're going
say.
to, if you're going to
wait.
hackle,
Well, you brought me to the conversation.
did
You
I?
mentioned
Did I bring him
just
to
a while
conversation?
ago.
You're disrupting.
Okay, anyway,
Pointing the finger at
I
you,
might as
no,
well,
that's
I might
not
as well speak to Anna than you. If I haven't made that clear, I'm making it clear now. All right. So once again, Anna, nothing does not exist. It's just a concept for us to communicate. The difference between something and nothing. For example, the term zero, the number zero, it could denote nothing.
Yeah, but when we are talking about nothing,
Absolute zero. Yeah.
what do you have in mind? Like what is?
It's a
like,
concept. It's a
doesn't
concept.
exist.
I don't need to visualize nothing. To me, visualizing nothing means I'm actually looking at something.
He's got
See what I
nothing in
mean?
his pocket. What are you imagining?
Nothing is the absence
If he
of
says he's got nothing in
everything.
his pocket- Hey,
Everything
don't
that you can
interrupt,
imagine.
don't
Guys,
interrupt,
guys, come on.
But
Yeah.
but do we even know? Like, is it possible?
No, nothing is a concept
It
for us to
doesn't
communicate.
exist.
It's a concept. For example, like, say for example, another example I can give you is infinity. Infinity is not a number. It is a concept of something that is unending. See what I mean? And zero is similarly a concept which means nothing.
The opposite.
Which means absolutely nothing. Which means absence of everything that you can imagine, everything that exists.
But
That's all it is.
so infinite is something that we actually didn't reach the end.
We will never reach. Others we will call infinite.
Okay, but then it's not. It might not be infinite, but we call it infinite.
No, it's a concept. It's an abstract. For example, the numbers that you use. Yes, you can
1, 2,
visualize
3, 4,
them.
5.
You can visualize them. They are something, but they call abstract. So there's a difference between nothing, abstract, and
So,
infinite.
Sorry, carry on with the universe.
Yeah, so going back, so because nothing doesn't exist even, we cannot say, and this is speaking logically, philosophically, even scientifically, because nothing doesn't exist, we cannot say that nothing brought about something like the universe.
Say that again. Sorry.
Nothing, because it doesn't even exist,
Yeah.
we can conclude that it cannot bring about something.
It cannot bring about
Something. Nothing cannot generate or give rise to something, because it doesn't even exist. Are you with me?
So nothing can bring.
Okay,
something.
let me rephrase that. If something doesn't exist,
Gonna be that
Yeah.
Christian
if
guy.
something doesn't even exist,
I know it.
Yeah.
can it
Ask it.
bring into existence something, anything? Say this bottle, for example. By the way, the bottle's been quite handy today. Can use it for lots of examples.
Do you want some water?
I'm fine, thank you very much. So what I'm saying is that this is something, right? It's a bottle.
Yeah.
Can this come from something that doesn't even exist?
No.
Good. So imagine this was the universe. It cannot come from nothing.
From my point of like understanding.
Yes, yes,
the
of course.
word.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it cannot come from nothing.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that we can actually say, yes, we can cross that out, that we know that nothing cannot bring about anything. Something, where there's a universe, where there's even one atom, it cannot bring about that. So what is the other possibility? The other possibility is that the universe came into existence from something.
From something, but then it's the same. Like, and this something.
Yes.
What is it coming from?
Very good question.
And then this something. What is it
Yes.
coming from?
So
And
very
this
so
is
that that's a very good question, and we need to explore that as well. So now we have something. This something needs to, in order for it to create the universe, it needs the ability to at least exist. It needs to exist first, and it has to be self-existent, and it has to be uncaused. Otherwise, we'll have a problem of infinite regress. Yeah. There's always troublemakers and trolls here. Let's ignore them. So yeah, let's get back to the discussion. So what I'm saying is that in order for this something to bring into existence anything, it at least has to be uncreated. You know why? Uncreated.
uncreated.
Yes, that means
Uncreated.
it has to be self-existing,
It exists for always,
and it has to be eternal.
forever.
I'll tell you why. Because it is like the question you asked. If something created the universe, what created that something? Yes? And then who created that something? The one that brought into this something. So we'll have an infinite regress of some things. Yes? But these things, in order for it to come into existence even, has to stop somewhere. It cannot be infinite. Others will have the infinite regression, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. It's a technical term.
Yeah,
Okay, I know. Okay, so what I'm saying is that infinite regress is something like, for example, I'll give you an analogy to understand it, to make it easier. For example, if you wanted to borrow a book from the library and there was infinite number of people in front of you, will you ever get a book?
No.
You'll never get the book. Why? Because that queue will never end. It's infinite. So in order to get away from that, and we know that the universe exists, so we know that it came into existence, yes, and we know that it cannot create itself, because the universe is not something conscious like you and me, yes, and creating itself would be problematic as well. So in both cases, it cannot be from nothing, and it cannot be from itself. So what is the other alternative? It must have come from something, and we have to now, by necessity of being of contingency, yes, of the law of non-contingency. That means that something has to be not dependent on someone else for its existence.
That something has to be.
Yeah. So we know that something has to be self-existent. It has to be not something which is
But why it has to be self-existent?
The reason for that is because if somebody else brought it into existence, then we'll ask the question, who brought that? We'll have this infinite regress. And we know that infinite regress do not bring things do not make things possible. Like the example of the book, you'll never get if there was infinite number of people. So we know that it has to end somewhere. Okay, so this creator, let's call it the creator, let's call it something, the intelligent designer. Yes, because maybe many people have this notion of not using the term God, because it probably has some other